Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Pittsburgh Sports Desk. We have one of our lovely guest hosts with us today, JR. You might recognize him from such acting gigs as the Gridiron Weekly, Puckett, and many other things on Spitball and Sports and on the Stream Punk Entertainment. So, we tonight are going to talk about a bunch of topics. Okay. We're not going to stress JR out at all. He's knowledgeable enough. He can hang with everything. So we're going to go through all the stuff we can go through, and we're going to incorporate Pittsburgh almost every topic. So we're going to start off with talking about your Pittsburgh Steelers. JR is a Bears fan, and, famously, I am from the Washington, D.C. area, and I am a Redskin fan. Now they're called the Commanders. Whatever you want to call them, you can call them. Right. But we're going to talk about the Steelers. So the Steelers still really don't have a quarterback. Right. And last week we talked about possibly if there was a supplemental draft, how high would they go to throw a pick into that supplemental draft to go after Brendan Sorsby. Now, my contention was, hey, the whole entire league, and JR is going to speak to this as well, the whole entire league is based upon gambling at this point. It is everywhere. All the celebrities are out there. How many times do I see Jamie Foxx talk about betting? I see almost all of them. John Hamm's out there talking. All these folks are out there talking about betting, and they're getting their I don't even know. Basically, they denied to have the supplemental draft. They blamed it on paperwork and this other nonsense, which just isn't true. They didn't want to have to deal with it. Now, my contention and JR's as well. I think you should have let the kid come in. And I don't know the bylaws that well because I thought you only had to be 3 years out of high school, right? So why is he not immediately a free agent?
Yeah.
How is this different than anybody else? You look at the kicker. Look at the kicker of the Cowboys. He came off the couch,
right?
Brandon Aubrey. His wife said, "Hey, I think you can kick better than these guys." Came off the couch, went through some sort of tryout type thing, and bam, he might have played in the spring football league, which I think he did. But anyway, why is Sorsby any different than all those players? Go ahead, JR.
Yeah, no, look, we said this before the show. We were talking about it. The only thing that would ever make me say I got a problem is if he bet. It really comes down to this: did he bet against himself? Was he throwing games? Was he purposely making things go under? Those types of things, and we can figure that out. That's easy to prove.
Yep,
he didn't. I think the part that he admitted it. I think it's good that we had an admission. We have somebody who's saying he's trying to not do it again. He's not going to. He's trying to fix it. I think he went to rehab or something like that. He
did 37 days of rehab.
To me, I know some people say character. Has he had any other issues off the field?
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. So, and like you said, the whole damn thing is built. Every sport, all four of the majors in the United States are certainly built around betting. I'm watching the NBA championship, and there's Shaquille O'Neal's doing a commercial with whoever the comedian is, right? Pretty much telling you about making money on DraftKings. So,
oh yeah, what's his name? Good Lord. The short guy.
Yeah, I know, and I can't remember his name.
How am I forgetting his name? Yeah, but you're right. Once you pair celebrities with other celebrities and they come out with these sports figures and they're talking about bets, what are you supposed to think? Do they want you to bet? What do they want you to do?
And also, man, it just isn't the old days anymore. I got it before when you had to bet with a bookie and all that kind of stuff. Like it used to be. Obviously, now you're tied into criminal activity. Different.
Oh, no doubt.
Here,
that's right. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not. It's not like that anymore. I don't got to go to the bookie. I don't have to go to the deli and go to the back of the deli. All that crap. It's different. And
Kevin Hart.
And Kevin Hart. And I can. That's why this is so much different than the Pete Rose days. And back then, this is just way different. You can't hold it against them anymore. You just can't. As long as they're not throwing games, as long as we're not doing that.
Yeah, and he had no opportunity at all when he was at Indiana to influence or throw any game.
Right.
He was a backup quarterback who threw 6 passes. Unless all 40 bets were on that game, again, like JR said, it's verifiable. All of this conjecture is verifiable. You just go look it up. They have the electronic transcripts and the receipts about all his bets. You just look it up. And I got pushed back because, character, blah, 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 blah. Take your character and shove it up your what, because they have players in the NFL who are just continually beating women over and over and over again. The guy Pierce was at Atlanta, the guy out of Tennessee. He did the same thing. You had who was the other? ridiculous guy that played for the Cowboys for a while, and he went on to become an.
Hardy.
Yeah, he was an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, he was a menace. Yeah, he was an absolute. Well, and you got to. And if anybody hasn't read the most recent Stefon Diggs stuff that I think happened a couple years ago, it's insane. The way the guys were beaten up, all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of allegations. I mean, but he's going to be in the league. He had 80. What do you have? 1,000 yards last year. He's going to be with somebody. He's not.
And unfortunately, they're talking about him going to Washington. But you're right. I think it's extremely hypocritical of the NFL. And quite frankly, he'd be the best quarterback on the Steelers roster. There's no doubt. Of 5 quarterbacks, he'd be the best one. He's certainly better than Will Howard and Drew Allar. And he's better than, Mason Rudolph, and probably on par with a 475-year-old Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
The kid's got talent. It's undeniable talent. And I really think the Steelers, honestly, they need a quarterback. But at the very least, they need a succession plan because Rodgers cannot play any longer.
Right.
If someone tells you outright this is their last year, they want to retire, they're not only thinking about retirement, they're planning for retirement. Right?
And listen, man, I don't know. The Steelers have always, this just makes none of it. I'm on a Pittsburgh show, so this is the perfect place for me to say it. I just never understood. You probably don't either. Like, how are we? What is it that you're not seeing when you're in the front office? I know the fans do. I mean, I've talked to Bill. I've talked to others. They see it, I think. I don't know how accepting 8-9, 9-8, 8-9, 9-8, 10-7, all this other stuff, and then going into the playoffs and being embarrassed last year in the playoffs horribly. Yep. So why do you want that again? I don't want to go to the playoffs and let that happen again. And I don't get it, man.
And essentially, they're rolling out the exact same team. They can talk about additions, but they've not fixed what's wrong with the team, and that's the lines. Both lines are subpar. And they're not going to go anywhere. They're overspending on defense again. It's a team that it really truly needs an overhaul. McCarthy is a very good coach. There's no doubting that. But again, the NFL, I mean, forget winning the lottery. If you ever had the opportunity as a youngster to get in the NFL as any sort of assistant or head coach, you're set for life. They recycle everything.
Yeah.
They're better. They're better than any liberal Democrat could ever hope for at recycling. That's all they do. Very rarely do they buy new. It's always recycling old coaches, and it's typically somebody who either took a piss with you or who you knew at another team. That's how they build, and that's how you maintain this incredible recycling program, because that's all they do is go back and forth. So I don't think really Rodgers and McCarthy were harmonious as everybody thinks they were in that last year.
Right. No.
I don't think it ended well. They were constantly battling on and off the field as far as play calling. He would often just, audible out of anything that came in, and ultimately what's going to be, especially a player of that stature, how are you going to control him? Right. You call in a play, whoever you are, you call in a play. And he said, look, man, the corner squatted, the safety came up. I audibled to this to try to take advantage of that. How are you going to argue with him?
Right. Right. And again, we're watching diminishing. The skills are so diminished that I don't know why the Steelers just didn't say forget it. I mean, you've probably said this before on the show, I'm sure, and I don't know how it was met, but you would figure there'd have to be a year. I watched the Bears do it. There's a year where you just got to win 3 games. You just got to just be bad. Whatever they do, put out on the field what you want. They're going to try to win. The coaches are going to try to. Everyone's going to try to win. As a general manager, you got to make it happen. You have to make them lose. You have to make the team lose. You got to get in the top 5. This is a terrible year. The Steelers should have been planning on this because the upcoming quarterback year seems to be better, and they're not. They're going to have the 25th pick or so 22nd, whatever it is.
So when we get into doing our NFL preview, we're going to look at the Steelers, and I'm going to tell you why, and you're going to be shocked at their schedule. So the first game again this year, they open up with Atlanta.
Okay.
That's got you go in the dictionary. It's dumpster fire.
Yeah.
No planet quarterback whatsoever. Tua or Michael Penix. Both are historically hurt all the time. Right. I mean, the only benefit Atlanta has in that game is they have the former coach Kevin Stefanski from Cleveland who got canned. Right. The next game they go to Cleveland. I mean, that's your first 2 games. Typically every year they always drop one of those, but it's too early in the season for them to lose those. Their defense is going to be the exact same defense they've been running since 19 whatever. That's been. I mean, everybody makes fun of them, but they still run the same defense, and now they're just running it with old people. But I mean, that's the start of their schedule. And then if you look at their schedule, they're not playing any quarterbacks. They haven't played 2 against Lamar and 2 against Joe. I can't since Burrow, since Burrow joined the league. And when they did play 2 against them, they got smoked. Smoked. Got beat at home and lost at Cincinnati 34-3. So it's the way their schedule works. It's like doing the college divisions. How's Georgia going to lose?
Right.
And how's Pittsburgh going to lose more than 9 games? It's just not. It's comical. And then they get to the playoffs, and the playoffs exposes everything. And every year the same thing. They don't play high level quarterbacks. Their division has a quarterback that's always out.
What happened against Houston was horrible. That was one of the worst playoff games I ever watched.
Because Houston tried to give them the game.
Absolutely, did everything possible to hand that game over, and they couldn't.
CJ gave them every chance they could to win.
That game stunk. It was bad. I remember it was a Sunday. I think it was Sunday night.
Yeah,
I think it was terrible.
Yeah, and they still couldn't put anything up on the offensive side of the ball.
No, and
couldn't run the ball. Now, I mean, that is one of the better teams, defensive teams in the league, which is what I hear from Pittsburgh fans. But hey, guess what, guys? They're still going to be in it because they're one of the best defensive teams in the league. They're still going to contend because they can win with their defense. Steelers can't do that because they're old on defense. But to me, it's fascinating with the quarterback position, and it leads into had they had a supplemental draft. If I was Omar Khan, I would have put a pick in. I just would have. Yeah. This team had Michael Vick here, who did horrific things to dogs, right?
Right.
He bred dogs to fight, all that other stuff. They brought him here. They didn't care, because he had talent. So I mean, the whole league as a whole is just completely hypocritical. How you draw the line at something silly as betting is completely beyond me.
Yeah,
I mean, it just is.
Legal betting, legal sports betting.
Correct. That's another great point, JR. It's legal. It's not like it was before. Like you said, there's nothing. It's all above board. And I agree with you. The pill that I could not swallow would be if it came out and said, "Look, here's the evidence." He said over under. He bet the over under on passing yards, and he had the ball in his hand. That you're done, right? You can't come back from that.
Yeah, you can't.
There's no way. It's just like the longest yard times too. You can't come back from that. But I think they're just being overly hypocritical. And now the guy can't play next year, so I don't know what he does. Maybe he goes to Canada.
I don't even know if he would. Yeah, I don't even know if that would help.
We're talking about Canada, him playing in the CFL, or he plays in the spring league. I don't know. Because he's not eligible until next year's draft, which is again is just I didn't understand that. I don't know the bylaws that well, which is the problem. But talking about the quarterback position in Pittsburgh, so they signed a backup linebacker to a $100 million deal, right? Herbig got $100 million as a backup.
Right
now between Herbig, T.J. Watt, and Hightower, right? They have, or I'm sorry, I keep saying Hightower, Alex Highsmith. They have $295 million contracts in 3 players. They don't produce enough sacks for that. There's just it's not possible, right? So now you have an asset very similar to what Belichick did in New England when he traded the best defensive lineman in the league, Richard Seymour, at 29 years old.
Right.
He traded him to the Raiders. This is what the Steelers need to be looking at. They need an actual general manager who can go outside the box and not listen to anybody. Now they're stuck with this albatross of a contract around their neck of T.J. Watt at $42 million. And everybody knows he's a step slower.
Right.
And he refuses to move from the left side. And what are your thoughts on that? He's almost like a statue, same place, same time, every game.
He is the perfect, he represents it. And what I mean is they just can't turn away. They just can't do it. There's teams that are very ruthless in the NHL. There's a lot of there's teams that are ruthless. They don't care. You know what? You're done. I don't care what you are. We're moving on. We know what we're going to do. The Steelers just won't do it. They're just not going to. He's the perfect name. He lost the step. Look at the money. You should be trading him. Someone would trade for him too.
I know
they would.
I would go to Denver. Denver says they're ready to win. This is at Vegas. I think TJ retires in 2 years. No doubt about it, Vegas. Yeah. No doubt. But I would look to Vegas. I would look to San Francisco specifically. $70-some million under the cap, and they just got Myles Garrett in their division. I would match him piece for piece. Watt's older, but I'd take him. I would. You pair him with Bosa. Come on, Bosa's coming off another ACL. but that gives him time to ease into the season, and you still have an effective pass rush on the outside. That's what I would do. I would shop Highsmith around, and then you look at other teams with an excess of quarterbacks, right? What if McCarthy, JJ, doesn't do well in Minnesota? Think Minnesota would want an end
Exactly
with that defense? He was already coached by what's his name, Flores, when Flores was here coaching linebackers, right? And there's another destination. And what if San Francisco decides, okay, we'll take Watt and we'll give you Mac Jones,
right? Yeah, you should be doing it. But they just won't, man. They will not. I've never seen anything like it. They are
here's the other thing. We'll get to it when we get to the hockey team.
Yeah.
They're paying for the past. They're not paying for the future. They're paying for what was done in the past, which is you only do that if you're a Fortune 500 company, and they barely do that. Hey JR, we had a great quarter. We're going to give you a bonus, but if next quarter you don't have a great, you're not going to get a bonus, right? They're guaranteeing you a bonus all year long, even if your numbers suffer. They did the same thing. I mean,
they don't look at age. It feels like they don't believe that age. And I don't know what the problem is. Your eyes can see it. All of us can.
Look, they had Rod Woodson here who got up in age at cornerback. They couldn't figure out what to do with him. They get rid of him. He becomes a Super Bowl winner of Baltimore as a safety.
Right.
It was an easy transition for him. The guy's an incredible athlete. World-class athlete. Easy transition. Hopefully Patrick Graham can get the defense to play up to their pay. I don't know. He did terrible with Vegas last year. Their defense. I mean, I think that if I'm a Steeler fan, if the only thing that happens is that TJ Watt moves up and down the line, I'd call that a success. That's how low the bar is, right? Yeah. He gets Watt to somehow get off that monument he's on, that pillar, and he gets him to move. That's going to be, and that's what you should be looking for anyway as an athlete like that. You should be looking for the mismatches. That's what you should do. I don't know why they don't, but that's what you should do. And they just refuse to do it.
I would love to talk or be able to talk to someone, not on a podcast or just someone, the general manager, whoever, the owner, the president, whatever they got there, and just ask them, man. I mean, you got it. You can't believe that this can win. You just can't. You can't tell me that in your mind you truly believe this can win. So, okay, so what is it? As far as fans go, I can only go back to what I remember with the Bears with Justin Fields. When they finally realized that guy wasn't any good, he was terrible. They tanked to the point of they were pathetic. And I was good with it. As a fan, I actually enjoyed it. I was rooting for them to lose every week and hoping nothing stupid would happen. It almost was enjoyable because I knew what the payoff was going to be. Yep. Hopefully, a chance to have a real quarterback finally.
Correct.
And this is insane because I know defense, I know everything else. It's got to start at that quarterback position because that will show me that they finally, like, for example, I mean, Rodgers should be gone. TJ Watt, we should be trading. We should be doing all this kinds of stuff. I don't even know if I'd have messed with Jaquan Brisker. I would have said, we're winning 4 games this year. If I got to put a letter out to the fans to make myself feel better, because I know some organizations do that. I think the Giants did it once or something. Hey, we're going to be better, but, we got to feel some pain first or all that crap. But
it's like Shawshank Redemption. You go through that mile of and you come out the other end and you get to shower and use soap, right? And you're free.
Right, and they just won't.
Mr. Steeler fan, Patrick Graham is my biggest concern, especially when it comes to play calling. Will he be a better play caller than Tomlin? I don't think Tomlin was a great play caller. I just don't. Tomlin benefits so much from having Dick LeBeau and Bill Cowher's players and Bill Cowher's drafts. After those, no one can argue that. They have a 9% hit rate since Tomlin took over. 9% in the first round. The league average is 44. They were 9%.
Right.
Great movie. Oh yeah. They were not, 9% or 8% hit rate they have in the first round. After TJ Watt, they haven't given anybody a second contract. That was 2017. No one has gotten a second contract except for TJ Watt. Nothing. Everything else has failed. I just think if McCarthy, I don't know McCarthy that well, but he doesn't sound like he's got an ego that large, right? It sounds like he'll trust the defense to the defense and trust the offense to the offense. Because Tomlin had his everywhere. Tomlin did everything because there was nobody to tell him that he couldn't do everything, right?
Yeah.
No coaching tree, no ability to do any sort of innovation. I mean, Brian Flores, went to Minnesota and they turned that defense around, right?
No.
He wouldn't allow it. You can coach the linebackers and that's it. And he was out the next year, because he wanted to be the DC and Tomlin couldn't handle that. His ego couldn't take that. What if the defense improved under Flores, who was a former head coach? Tomlin he couldn't handle any of that stuff, which it boggles the mind that he stayed here this long. And like I said, look at their schedule, for God's sakes. They don't play anybody.
Yeah, what do they have? They got Atlanta, so they play New Orleans probably, and that division. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Carolina. Come on. And Baker Mayfield on the Bucs. Right? That's who you're playing. Those are your quarterbacks you're playing this year. So it's going to be that is the No, I mean, I'm not a turnover person. I know Mr. Steele fan said that. Well, I'm not a turnover person. I don't believe you can count on those. I just don't.
Well, no, I think about the Bears. They had 33 of them last year. I can't count on that.
That's how you go, being just good enough to make. Yeah.
Yes, and it's
true.
You've got to be. I bet you got to be ready for a rebuild somewhere in here. And it's beyond rebuild at this point because it's been so long. It's stripping it down to where you're going to be the Browns for 1 year. It could be just 1 year. That's all it might take. Maybe two. Maybe because once you draft your quarterback, things change. Now you know how that is. Everything.
But I'm saying, look at their division though. Do they get 4 games this year? 2 with Lamar and 2 with Joe Burrow. Do they get that? No idea. No idea. And then Cleveland. Cleveland could have, I don't even know, Al-Shabaab at quarterback, right? I mean, we don't know.
And they probably have a decent defense still, Cleveland.
Yeah, they do.
Right? Yeah.
So. Yeah. For me, hold on. When your defense is counted on them, though, it's hard to change philosophy. Yeah. No. I'm not talking about changing philosophy. You always want to turn the ball over. I just don't think it's a tangible thing. Like if you want to run the ball more, you call more run plays. But to get turnovers, you're not going to tell the other team, okay, run this play again, right? With a variety of improved offense, turnovers don't matter. You want the offense to have the ball more often. There's no doubting any of that, Mr. Steele fan. You're 100% correct. My point on the turnovers, it's not tangible. I can't say, hey, I want 80 balls thrown to the new guy Pittman. I can say that. I can actually declare that. You can't say I want,
And he's absolutely right, because I'm going to go bring it to the Bears. Last year, all those turnovers, 33 of them, it wouldn't have mattered if it was Justin Fields at quarterback.
Correct.
No. We would have did nothing but kick field goals if they were lucky.
Yep.
Since Williams is better than they've had, I mean, it changed. They had a good run. They made it to wherever they made it. But in Pittsburgh here, why would the offense be any different this year?
Right. It's the same quarterback. And that's the problem. He got those 33 turnovers, and they barely won 10 games. Yeah. Barely. Right. So I've never been somebody who believes in turnovers. Yes, every team wants to turn the ball over, and I'm sure that's in every defense coordinator on the board. I guarantee you, day one, turnovers and sacks. I guarantee you, there's the first 2 words in every defense. All 32 teams are going to say that. The fact of the matter is, it doesn't work out that way. That's why I would say the defense has to be more so than the offense. Defense has to show a lot of variety. But you can increase the odds of forcing them with the right plays called and the players in position to make those splash plays. That's true. That is true. However, it still has to happen. I can put a player there. The player still has to catch. Player still has to punch. All that stuff.
Now, who on the Steelers now is that? Who is it? I'm drawing up. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on the defense. TJ Watt and Brisker and some of the.
I mean, you have Watt. If he moves around, he'll do something. Right. You have Jalen. He was in a lot of turnovers last year.
Okay.
They had a lot of fumbles last year, if I remember correctly.
Right.
So there's no doubt you can put players in positions to succeed. Obviously, no doubt about that. It's just not something you can count on year after year. And we can look at a 5-year span. That's what every team wants to do it. But teams like the Bears and Steelers have. I don't. We just differ on Tomlin. We just do. Tomlin, I don't think he was a chess player. I think he's in a shit division. I mean, look at the wins he has. I mean, he always loses a game that he shouldn't lose. Wins a game he shouldn't win. I wasn't a huge fan. I'm just not. He meddled way too much in all aspects of the game, and that cost them in the playoffs. And in the playoffs, they didn't really turn anybody over. The famous game against Cleveland turned them over I don't know how many times and crushed them. Scored 28. Everyone loves splash plays. We need to be better. Exactly. And better at keeping our – yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the Steelers' ultimate problem, again, as we said in the start, line. You have Cameron Hayward, and nobody ever doubts his play. Yeah. And then guy leaves his entire body on the field. But, however, that's not good for the organization. That means no one behind him is flashing at practice.
Right.
And players know at practice. If I have JR on my team, JR is my nose tackle. I just draft him second or third round pick, and every day he's flashing. Every day at practice, we can't block him. The offense gets pissed off because we can't block him. They're going to go to the coach and be like, "Hey, man, JR's got something. I think he should start." And they're going to keep saying it. Guess what's going to happen? JR's going to start. That's not happening with any of the other players. Louder mix of the world, even Harmon. I mean, he hadn't done anything. Hurt a little bit. I'm not about being a fan. It's really a Tomlin micromanage the defense. I don't think we understand the negative impact that will leave on the defense and Graham. Yeah, he micromanaged too much. I agree with you, but I don't think that. I just don't think Dick LeBeau was the guy. No Benton at this tackle. No Caleb Johnson. Okay, yeah. So there you go. Yeah, I mean, I forgot about Caleb Johnson. God, that guy's so buried deep so far from Iowa. He can't even pass protect. That's why he's not in the game. He can't pass pro, and they drafted him. I'll take a top 5 defensive turnovers every year. I want turnovers in the offense. Dude, I'll take it. There's no doubt I want a top 5 defensive turnovers. That would be incredible. But the idea was, even if you get that, you're still not capitalizing. There's no quarterback.
I need the offense to score touchdowns.
Right. If the offense goes above average, not even superior, because they're below average. If they go average or above average, they'll be a better team. But I don't think they're going to. I believe Pittman is simply just DK younger. They run the same exact routes. He's not going to be, he's not a bubble screen guy. He's not a slant guy, so they need that slot receiver that can light it up, which I don't think they have, because I think Wilson's terrible out of Michigan. So
right. Yeah, oh God. Yeah, I don't know what happened.
He came from a team that ran the ball every play.
Right.
Yeah. Need a 60-yard field goal to beat. Yeah, exactly. Right. And if did either of you want A. Rodgers back? Nothing against the guy, but no, you have to develop a quarterback. There has to be a succession plan. They don't have one. They're in a league where that's the number one most important position, and they don't have one.
No, can't. No, because you know what though, I guess the thing is, last year I saw the playoff game. I saw what I saw with him.
Right.
It just ever since he ran out on the field with the Jets and he tore his Achilles, it's just never been the same, Yeah.
I mean, now you take that loss right there. You add Pittman. Does that do anything?
No, Pittman. It's on the quarterback.
He was never coming in. I agree.
That it was on the quarterback though. It's on him. I don't care who a decent quarterback might be able to do some things out there for them. A decent quarterback on this team. Think about it. If you threw, I don't even know who to think. I can't even think of somebody you could put on there. Hell, you were saying Mac Jones. I'd rather see him.
I mean, he can push but I mean, you look at Kirk Cousins. He's not mobile, but he could definitely throw the ball around. The fact of the matter is, if the number one position in any league you're in, whatever sport it is, whatever job you're in, and you don't have the number one position, you can't win. It's only happened a couple of times in the history of the NFL because coaches need to develop our guys. Hopefully this will. Yeah, I don't know, man.
At QB, it's tough. You got to
Vegas. How do you define developing? Is really what I want to know. Because if I'm taking an elite athlete, I'm not really developing them. I'm just honing their athletic skills. I'm saying, hey, instead of doing that 3-step drop, let's go with the 3.5-step drop. Right? That's not really development. That's just picking, here or there. So, what do you think is developing? We'll see if he answers.
Yeah, because Will Howard at Ohio State was great, but so was Justin Fields. Right? I mean, everything is great at Ohio State when they drop back and pass. It's beautiful. It's perfect. I don't remember what he was like at Kansas State. He's certainly tough, and he's
54% completion percentage.
All right, so I mean
that's what he was at Kansas State. Which that doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do it. Well, there needs to be a commitment to just tear it someday. I don't know when it's going to happen, and that's when they're going to be better, and that's when they're going to win. That's when they're going to be back to what the Steelers should be, and winning.
It took from 1980 to 2005 to get a quarterback. That's 25 years, right? It could be another 25 years if they don't. And I don't understand why they can't see that in the history of their team. I really don't. I don't. I don't see why they can't look back and say, okay, we spent 25 years. Yeah, we got to the Super Bowl. We got to a couple AFC champions, 3 under Cowher. But one was Cordell Stewart. The other 2 were Neil O'Donnell. Got to the Super Bowl, but Neil O'Donnell had a terrible game, right?
Yeah.
And then you get to the AFC Championship game, you lose with Rodgers. You lose with Big Ben, and then you go the next year, right?
Right.
So I think that if they can look at their own history, learn from their own history, and they'll be a better team if they can do that. But I agree with you. Until you decide and commit, they're not a reload team because they don't have a quarterback. They're nothing like the Patriots. The Patriots had probably the best quarterback ever to play.
They need to lose they need to lose. They got to lose, and for the next 2 weeks, it's going to be 2 years at least of the pain. It's going to be that 1 year, draft a quarterback, more pain, then you get going. Then it starts. Because
what do you do though when you're in that terrible division?
You just take a
Because
beating.
it's going to be so obvious them taking. I mean, it's almost like taking a knee when
Yeah, we're taking a knee. That's what we're doing. Yeah, they have to. They just we're taking. I wonder how many fans would love it. Though Steeler fans, they would have to love it because it's they know it's what they need.
First of all, again, look at the league.
Hmm?
Look at the league. Look at the leagues that were terrible, the teams that are terrible, and then they got a quarterback. It's easy. I was all on Mac Jones and trading for Brian Thomas Jr. of Jacksonville early in the year. Tons of trades talk surrounded Thomas from Jacksonville. Yeah, and Brian Thomas is very good, but specifically, I would trade Highsmith for something.
Yeah,
I just would, or Watt if you can convince somebody to take Watt. That's really truly what it is. If you can convince somebody to take Watt, then you're an actual player in free agency with 42 million plus whatever. Mac Jones played really good ball. Yeah, he did.
Well, and you're not getting a quarterback through a trade. That just doesn't happen anymore. Not that I can think of. It's not gonna. No. It's not gonna work. So,
no. I mean, they keep talking about Baker. First of all, Baker's going to get 56 to 60. He just is.
Again, I don't want. You shouldn't want him.
Right.
That's a mistake. He's often injured. He's He's also getting up there. It becomes you're gonna you've missed the best years of Baker.
Yeah.
So what's the point of?
And here's the other thing: is they had opportunities to take quarterbacks in the draft.
Yeah,
they just didn't do it.
They just didn't do it.
I mean, this year was the ultimate year. You're hosting a draft in your backyard, right? You had all that draft capital, 12 picks, and what did you do? You panicked and drafted a reserve offensive lineman, and then the only picks you gave up, you moved up to get Drew Lollard in the third round, who nobody was clamoring after. I would have packaged those picks together, and I would have taken I would have traded Watt draft day.
Right.
Go up to one of the big boys. Make yourself a player. Yeah. And they just wouldn't do it. Next year, they don't have any draft capital. They have one pick. Cleveland rules the draft next year. They have two first-round picks. They rule the draft because they're not going to be good, right?
Right. And you had a better chance. You might as well you could have went with what's Carson Beck even.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's probably going to start in Arizona.
Yep.
So
all that nonsense is going on out there. You're right. So, and I just think the Steelers, they don't have people that are willing to have these discussions. They don't.
Yeah, that's what I want to ask. And maybe what is going. No, I guess they don't. They just don't want to. They must just all say yes. They must just all believe. I don't know if it's the mystique of the Steelers that we know is getting old and is way in the past. Like for me, I can't watch it and not understand how the people can't see. This has to be blown up.
If you look at their history, they're a decade through the 25 years it took to get. I would keep Watt and Highsmith, especially if they put up the numbers good enough to turn heads. In Alex's case, he could draw a second-round pick and high one too. I would not keep Watt. Sorry, one of them has to go. I wouldn't have not signed Watt to that contract. That was ridiculous. Nobody does that in the NFL. Nobody. I mean, Myles Garrett is an exception because he's way better than Watt. I don't believe anybody would have signed a 32-year-old to that kind of money. It's just too much, especially when you play in the pits. I mean, the guy's a fabulous player. He's probably a Hall of Famer, most definitely. Yeah. So I would have gotten rid of him. I really would have. I would have got rid of Hayward. Not because I don't like them, not because they're not good. It's what you have to do. If you have draft capital, that's what you have to do.
Right. And then the thing is, it's like they want to, and I'm not talking the fans, I'm talking about the organization. Like you bring them back and then you can honor them. You know what I mean? You've got to keep honoring them continually and pay them.
With your cap. You bring them back, you put them in the Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And they go to the Pro Bowl. Or I'm sorry, to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's an attorney. He's risk adverse, right? He'd rather see this team still have winning seasons and just, we win. One of these years we might. No, it's not going to happen. You're not a rebuilding team. You're just not. You never have been, quite frankly. I mean, we're talking last playoff win 2016, 2010, last chance at a Super Bowl. I mean, you're already going on 16 years. So you're getting. I mean, if they do it the way they're doing it now, it'll be another 10 years. What is one helmet guy? Rooney in the organization already said this. Unless TJ says otherwise, he is not going anywhere. I think Watt still has it. They could have a very good rotation. Dude, it's $295 million for 3 players. $295 million. No 3 players are worth that. Unless you give me Mahomes.
Wild. Yeah.
Right. Give me Mahomes. Give me Myles Garrett. And give me the best wide receiver in the league. That's worth $295 million. Watt, Highsmith, and Herbig are not worth $295 million. They are not, period.
And I like Herbig too, by the way.
I like all of them
a lot. I like them
Yes.
all. Yeah.
All of them. That's not saying they can't play. That's just saying they're just not worth that money. They're just not. That's a huge amount of money to put on the table.
It reminds me of I know it's going to hockey, but it's just a little bit because I'm up here in Buffalo. So when the Sabres, or even with the Bills, there's a couple times, the Bills, let's stick to the Bills. When they fire McDermott and they hire their offensive coordinator, it felt like they opened a fresh window up. Like you could just tell the whole thing was just a breath of fresh air came in. You could feel it. You could see it. Some of the guys, I do the Bills show. I talked to the one, Nick Zavato, who's with the newspaper. He goes to the training camp. He's at mini camp. He said it's just different. Totally different feel without McDermott there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I would see with the Steelers. I'm not saying now, obviously, you got McCarthy, whatever. It's more different for them, though. They've got to judge. The breath of fresh air would be, we're going to get a quarterback now. Now we're serious. Now we're going to,
Breath of fresh air would be, I'm sorry, Rodgers is not here this year. We're going to go to Rudolph, and then when Rudolph putters, we have 2 others to test. Then I've tested all 3 of my quarterbacks in live NFL games, right? I know what Rudolph is. Rudolph, his journy got stunted because Roethlisberger did nothing, hated the pick, did nothing to, couldn't understand beyond what was Big Ben. Every other team has had, succession plans with Green Bay being the best, but that's what I would have done all year.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, here's a scenario. What if Rodgers gets hurt out for the season? You're going to do that exact same thing.
Right.
You're going to do that exact same thing.
I hate to say this because don't like injuries. I never root for them.
Neither do I.
But I'm going to say, for the Steelers' own sake.
That's what I said. Could be the best thing that ever happens to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Because then you put Rudolph in. He's not going to last long. 1 or 2 games. Then you're going to
win 4
Howard's
games.
Next. Yep. Howard's next. And then they're whatever. They say they're 5 and whatever. And then, hey, we've got two games left. We're going to go with Drew Lar, right? To see what we have with 3 games. That's what you need in a professional organization. That's what you need. You don't need, and everybody's going to point to Rodgers' numbers. Great. 26-8, 24-8, whatever it was. Great. Had the lowest air yards in the NFL because their line sucked. I don't think it's going to be any better. With Fautano on the left, it scares the hell out of me. But with his knee, there are lots of ways to improve, obviously. But I'd say improvement is teaching players new techniques they can actually use, teaching them how to watch film and how to read defenses. Hey, dude, that's a great idea, Vegas. There's no doubt that is a fantastic idea. Maybe they didn't get that under Tomlin. I can't imagine they did because I think he was just a scatterbrain. You can't manage everything. You just can't. And quite frankly, why would you want to?
Right.
You want to empower people below you to eventually take your job. That's what every successful organization does. You're training for the future. You're living in the present, but you're always training for the future. Always. I think they're a team that's just going to be mired in mediocrity. They just are. They can't beat any of the big boys in the AFC. Not possible.
No. And it's a final, and it's like, it's so mediocre in the regular season, but then we get to the playoffs, and it, like you said, it's exposed, and now we're having terrible playoff games.
Yeah.
You're getting beat 30-7, you're getting beat 23-3, whatever the hell the scores are. That's how I don't understand about the organization, how they don't find that embarrassing. You would think
back years. You were embarrassed by Baltimore at Baltimore. You were embarrassed at home by Houston, and what'd you do? You bring the same gang back. Exact same game is back. Come on, gang. Come on. It'll be different this year. It's just not going to be different. You have the same core players. Until that changes, until real change happens, it's going to be the same exact script. And you're right. They're fine with it. They are 100% fine with that. Yeah. Which, again, boggles the mind. All right. So we'll next week, we're going to get into the Steelers schedule. Yeah. We're going to, if you really love football, Gridiron Weekly is on at 6:00 on Tuesdays. Great show. JR, myself, and Bill, where we do college and NFL. Really good stuff. Tune in there to us. But now it is time to get into another team in this town called the Penguins, right?
Yeah.
And the Penguins are almost a mirror image of the Steelers, just a different sport, right? They're old. Again, they're paying for the past. They're not looking to the future. So let's talk about the NHL and the Penguins plan with the draft and free agency. Penguins haven't done anything in free agency, right? They've done one. I'm sorry. One thing they did do is that they re-signed Yevgeny Malkin to 1 year, which people praise. For me, I just have no idea why they did it, to be honest.
Right.
Your thoughts on that?
No, it's nothing. I mean, it's just a fond farewell. I mean, it's okay. That's all this is. It's to say goodbye. Doesn't have so it feels like we're going to give him a year to say good. That's because there's no other reason. It's not to win playoff games.
Correct.
It's not to do any of that. It's just to be nice, I guess, and just honor the past. That's the only thing I can think of with him.
Thing is, why they hesitating to pull the Band-Aid off is always what I want to know.
You're right. I mean, they're the Steelers on ice. I mean, I don't.
I mean, the Band-Aid's coming off. We know it's coming off, right? But you decided to make, give them another year for what? I mean, and here's the thing that the Steelers fans chirp all the time. Well, I mean, that's who Sidney Crosby likes. Who cares? Who cares what Sidney Crosby likes? He's not the organization. He's not writing the checks. You go to another team. I'll focus on the team down in the DMV. They traded Carlson away. That was Alex Ovechkin's best friend. Right. Traded him away. You know why? Because they got a draft pick out of it, a number one, right? They got a number one draft pick who they turned in and got the kid from St. Louis for Connor McMichael, another one. Then they got the kid from Buffalo who they doubled his salary for some reason. That's a terrible move. 8 years for a 30-year-old. I never would have done that.
Right.
But regardless, they're making moves to try to improve their organization. Whereas the Penguins, they just got sold again to some firm out of Chicago now, which it does not help them because it's still not a team within Pittsburgh, right? And you can see it in other sports where the owners are not native to the city and they do whatever they want. But the Penguins have to do something. What are they going to do? They sit at $37 million under the cap, 37.858 under the cap. What are they going to do?
I'll say one thing. I know Kyle Dubas was with the Leafs. He had Mason Marchment. They drafted him. He was in the farm system. He brought him up. Looked great. I'm watching. Leaf fan. I love Marchment. Perfect. It's what you want. Top 6 guy. Hits, fights, scores. He traded him for a small guy from Switzerland. And he just said, and I was so glad I heard this because I've hated him ever since. He says the worst thing he ever did. He regrets that more than anything he ever did was trading Marchment away for can't remember his first, Dennis Mulligan. And now Marchment's available, so I'd be interested to see if he decides to make that better because he would help the you know what? That'd be decent. If you brought Marchment in, I don't even think he's 30 yet. If he
Mason
even
Marchment?
Yeah. How old is
31.
Okay, bring him maybe. Bring him back.
$4.5 million a year.
Like him. He's every team wants him. And maybe the Penguins do that because I know Kyle Dubas was very upset. So was I when he traded for Dennis Mulligan. But I mean, Brian Rust is available, right, for trade. I guess Ricard Raquel and Erik Karlsson. I
mean, there's no way I bring Erik Karlsson back. I just don't do it. He's too much money, and he's old. And they're like, well, he had a great year. It doesn't matter. He's 30, he'll be 36 or 30. Stop. It's the same thing as the Steelers.
And it's perfect that he had a great year because there is teams that need the power play.
Right.
They can bring him in just to be a power play specialist, and they'll do it.
Sure. I mean, why wouldn't they? But I mean, you look around the league; they have plenty of money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at here's a good one from Dallas: Jason Robertson, 26 years old.
Yeah,
he's a restricted free agent, but why not? I mean, great left winger to have. You know,
they need a goalie too over here. I didn't realize who the goalies were until I just looked.
How about pulling Trevor Zegras from your hated rival Philly? He's a restricted free agent. Or here's what you do, which other teams do. Give him a ridiculous contract that Philly has to match.
Right.
Go screw Philly with their cap, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's so many players available for him.
I'm not quite sure. I'm just curious because I'm looking at the lineup, right? Chinikov was good when they brought him in. I thought that was smart. A smart move by Dubas. You know, he gets some. Kindle's good, young guy. McGroarty, okay. You know, Raquel and Rust are what's interesting to me. What do you do with them? 34 and 35 years old, 34 and 33. I'm sure someone would trade a good team, a really good team would trade for them. Would love to have them on their third line, second line, whatever.
Sure.
Do they pull the trigger? Or is it because Crosby says, are you telling me Crosby's saying no? You can't do that. I don't even believe that's the case. Like, how would he?
I don't think it is, but that's what they all tell me. That's what they all tell me all the time. They say, well, it's Crosby. Who cares what Crosby wants, frankly? You know? It's over for Crosby. You know, he's not going to win anything here.
All Crosby can do is say, I want out. Correct. He can say, trade me now. I'm done. That's all he would. I don't believe the Leafs go to Austin Matthews. I don't think anyone goes to anyone. I really don't. Right. You know, when they go to him, it's not players, it's coaches like Connor McDavid and Draisaitl. Yes, Mike Babcock, they had to have gone. There's no way. That's a big deal because that guy's insane.
Right.
So when you do that, but I mean, if they decide, you know what, I'm moving on, we're moving away from Rust. We can get some good assets for him. We're going to do it. We're going to go. Yeah. If Crosby don't like it, what Crosby's going to do is say, you know what, I want to go to Colorado now. Maybe I want to go back to Montreal. I want to go home.
Yeah.
Let me move on. And they should be thankful and say, thank you. We'll move you on.
Right.
That's actually what they need to have happen.
Just like the Steelers.
Yeah.
It's Watt or it's Sid. I mean, it's the same thing. You eventually have to rebuild, and they're going to be bad because they don't have a lot of youth, and they're not big in Wilkes-Barre Scranton. The Baby Penguins are not big. You compare them again to Washington, who have the Produce brothers, 6'5" and 6'6".
Yeah.
Lexi and I forget his other name, but anyway, that's you need big, strong people in your minor league system. They don't have it, because forever they've been trying to chase a cup since 18, right? And they traded away so many assets in draft picks and prospects that it's at this point there's no way to reload it in 1 year. And they had three ties. Two other teams in the East, had more wins than the Penguins. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Carlson and Letang, right? 36 and 39. It's just tough to.
Letang he's terrible. He's lost a step. He should not be back.
No,
he shouldn't. And if you you get rid of Letang, I guess you keep Carlson because you need the point. But and here's the thing: they're going to trot out the same exact team. It's same exact team.
I'm really surprised, Ed, with Dubas. I really am. He left Toronto because he wanted to trade one of Marner, Matthews, or Nylander or Tavares, which would have been smart. That had to happen, especially after they blew that 3-1 lead against the Canadiens.
Yep.
And that was 2020, I believe, or 2021. It was during COVID. They fire him. He quits, actually. No, he quits because he says they're not giving me the freedom to do what I want to do.
Power, yeah.
And what's he doing?
And he comes to Pittsburgh and he signs that ridiculous contract with Jari because he had a good dinner with him. That was the guy. That was a terrible contract.
That was unbelievable. Yeah.
But he bounced back from it because he got rid of him finally.
Yeah, he somehow did it. He had Skinner. Skinner. Now Skinner's a UFA.
Yeah. So but they have a young Russian kid in Wilkes-Barre who's young, 22-year-old. Might as well just bring him up.
Yeah, he's got to come on. Now, the thing is, there's 84 games, right? Now they added 2 more games to the season. Yeah. So you got to find enough games. This kid's only going to play 30. You know what I mean? How much are you going to have him?
40. Yeah.
So you got to find Silvas here isn't going to be. They need a goalie. I'm not saying it's like Hellebuck, but I'm saying they need a goalie.
They need a couple goalies.
Well, yeah,
I think Connor Hellebuck goes to Vegas.
That'd be nuts. Or Florida again. Or Florida.
Oh, please stop. That's
they're talking of it.
Yeah, they are. You're right. But that would be, honest to God, that would be insane.
I know. Yeah.
Because the guy's still dominant. He won the gold medal all by himself, basically. But the Penguins are in the exact same position. You got to stop living in the past. For the love of God, your future is bleak. Both organizations' future is bleak. You have to pull the Band-Aid off. You can choose when to do it with the patient, but here's the way the Steelers are. All right, JR, I'm going to pull it off and I'm going to just rip it off, or I can go slow, right?
Right.
Both teams are going slow as opposed to just ripping the Band-Aid off. Yes. They're just peeling it off. Rip it off. Yeah. That's how healing begins. It's just, I can't understand either organization. I just can't. They make no sense to me. If I were a fan of either one of these in the city, I'd go crazy.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. Like I would have, I wouldn't, the Bears are my perfect. But the Leafs did it to get Austin Matthews. I remember when they just tanked. They were done. I'm okay. I'm good with tanking for a reason.
Yeah.
And when there's a reason, do it, man. Let's go. And then because then these guys. A fan of these teams. I don't know how you're looking at them and thinking right now that there's a play. That anything's going to change. Who did the Penguins get knocked out by? The Flyers.
Yeah, swept.
Yeah. Okay, and the Flyers are
4-1. Sorry,
the Flyers are young and fast. Yeah. So they're a young team and they're very fast, and they're going to be good again this year, probably.
Yeah, and they have youth in their system. So do the Caps. They're not winning. They're just and here's the thing is, with an organization that doesn't reside in the city, like Pittsburgh, I don't know how they sell it to the fans. They just must not care,
right?
Hey, be happy with 9 and go shut up, right? Be happy with 9 and 10 every year because there's no way they're ever going to. You can't honestly say to your team that we're a Super Bowl contender. Can't do it. Can't
No,
do it.
you can't. And in hockey, it's all Sid, right? That's the only reason anyone's going to these games. That's the only reason a fan of the Penguins is engaged. Is just to,
get that one last opportunity to see greatness, right?
But he's not even the same.
I know. And honestly, and I got crap for it last week at the Worlds on that international ice. He was terrible. He was so slow. It was so painfully obvious that he is just so, he's getting to the point of diminished returns.
To the point where they're going to play him they got to play him on the wing.
Of course.
You know what I mean? He's got to move over.
The third line.
Because Tavares is the same way. I mean, they move him to the wing. I mean, it's what happens though. That's what happens with time. I don't know.
Everybody has to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ovechkin's not on the top line anymore.
Right.
He comes out on power plays. He doesn't even play that much, because he knows. And here's the thing. You have athletes like Ovechkin who knows he doesn't want to embarrass himself. I mean, he scored 32 goals last year, right?
Right.
Almost all on the power play, and he had some open netters. But that the players know, right?
Yeah.
He knows his body. He knows he can't do it. But these guys here keep trotting him out, keep running around. Malcolm's a good friend. That's why he has to come back. Who cares what Sid thinks? Honestly.
No,
so you're just stunting your organization for what? Because Malcolm might score. He had 16 goals last year. Who cares?
That's where it would have started for me if that would have, and now let Crosby say,
correct.
I want to move on. And everyone could do it very graciously. Hell, we could do whatever he wants. Where do you want to go? We'll bring you. I don't even care no more.
That's what people don't understand around here. You can take all these aging stars here, thank them profusely for their contributions, not only to the organizations, but to the region, right? And say, now as your reward, you tell us we're going to make it happen. We are going to make it happen. You want to go to Edmonton and play with Connor McJesus, we're going to make it happen. You want to go home to Montreal, we're going to make it happen. Anything you want, we're going to make it happen, right?
Right.
And they're just not smart enough or that's why I don't understand these general managers. You can't sit there with a straight face and say, okay, we're winning the cup this year. We just need to have bring back Letang and Carlson. Like you can't say that in a boardroom without somebody laughing, right? And if they don't laugh, you got to get people in there that will laugh at you, right? Because you're in the wrong room.
You're looking at this team and you're saying to yourself, really, if you're being honest, I don't know if we can make the last wild card spot. I'm not quite sure we're in that.
No, they have issues everywhere. Defense,
the Atlantic is tough. Yeah, I mean, and then you're going to,
the defending cup champion.
The Rangers have kind of done it. Look at how bad they are. I don't know how long it's going to take for them, but they're at least doing it. I mean, so
because you have to. It's the maturation process and the natural process of having an organization. Yeah. It turns over. And and this the city is also about these ridiculous, nonsensical records and streaks that mean nothing. Nothing. Right. We kept them together longer than any. Who cares? They stink. The last 8 years have been crap. You haven't done anything in the city since 16, right? For me, it's laughable because there's going to be no change. There's no chance at all for any of these teams to win. Now we move seamlessly to the other team, which has your pitcher in waiting, right? Because he's going to the Yankees. We already know he's going to the Yankees. Where he wants to go. That's where Livy wants to go. So guess what? He's going to the Yankees. Another organization that at least they have young talent, but somehow or another, this one it really truly boggles my mind. They're the first time they're 39-40 now, so we're getting close. We're getting almost to July, and I was talking to Mac off air today, and I said, "Hey, Mac, we've been doing this podcast for 6 years. In the 6 years, this is the furthest we've gone talking about the Pirates." And he blew up. He's like, "Are you kidding me? That's what I have to hang everything on?" I go, "Mac, there's nothing else, man. There's nothing else. I mean, it's June, and we're still talking about him, which is rare, right?" 39-40. Yeah, I mean,
the wild card.
Yeah. So, I mean, and that brings up so many other options as far as the trade deadline. What do you do? You buyers or sellers, but what do you think? What do you have to be at?
Look,
I don't know why I was yawning. What do you have to be at to be a buyer at the trade deadline, which we're about a little over a month away? What do you have to be record-wise?
If I'm still sitting at 3 games at bat, if I'm where I am right now, 3 games back, the wild card, in my opinion, where I'm a series away, I truly am a series away of making making the playoffs because I need to make the play. I should want to. Then I would because they should buy. They got to buy. Start buying. I don't give a damn. Buy.
Right.
please buy, because it's unfair. Now we're going in a different direction. We've gone from the Steelers and the the Penguins to this, and
So many
this
similarities.
this is sad though. The Pirates is just it's this is terrible to me, because beautiful everything down there, and
Right. And this is
had,
why I'm cheering, hoping, and praying for lockout.
Yeah.
To get all these terrible owners out, right? And I think the floor of a cap is so much more important in baseball than any high number you can put, the ceiling you can put on it. Force everybody in baseball to spend 250. Force them. That gets rid of all these owners. It just does.
Yeah.
Gets rid of all these owners. The Pirates are only about 45 million away from that, but it gets rid of all the owners. It forces the Miami Marlins to spend money, right? But then you look at other teams. You look at Tampa Bay, competitive every year.
Yeah,
with the payroll much lower than the Pirates. So is it coaching? Is it scouting? They have one of the best minor league teams in baseball.
And
Top
that's
10.
another thing. Who right now I can't even, and because unfortunately I don't get to watch the Pirates as much. I'm watching the Yankees, or I'm watching American League stuff.
Yeah.
The manager of the Pirates. Who should the manager of the Pirates? You should have a name. Be the man. You can spend money on a manager.
No cap whatsoever on a manager.
Right. Get the best one possible. Just start the feeling, that would change everything. You get the guy, then you get players that he could bring with him. You got a whole,
they need somebody back in his heyday, like a Joe Madden.
Yeah.
He's heady.
Yeah.
Heady, kind of quirky, quotes philosophy all the time, dyes his hair, does all kinds of goofy stuff, or somebody like a Terry Francona who could be, in their heyday. They need something like that, to start a rebuild, because then he's going to come and look at it and be like, we're not that bad. And he can tweak things, and he can get more juice out of that squeeze than they're getting now.
Because they're not that bad, because they're sitting here 39-40. Fine. Yeah. I mean, you're 3 games out of a wild card. I do watch some of them. The games aren't bad. I'm not going to say they're horrible. There's some exciting, when Skeens pitches, it's incredible. It's really, it's an electric kind of atmosphere. Yeah. So I don't know, man. That's one thing the Pirates just, I don't get it. I do get it, but it's just, it's sad.
To me, it makes no sense, because you figure an owner of an organization, he or she is usually a type A personality. They don't want to lose at paper football. They don't want to lose at tossing garbage into a can. They don't want to lose at anything. Tiddlywinks, they don't want to lose, The bullpen has been, that's true, Vegas. Bullpen has been wretched.
Well, Bednar's in New York, I mean.
Right. But again, that's something they can improve upon, and massage the starting pitchers longer. They can do a lot of stuff there. And that takes probably a higher mind than they have in Kelly. It takes somebody with, extensive analytical experience and all that knowledge, But that's why the Pirates confound me. Nutting just, why would you not want to win and put more people in the seats and sell more merch? Right. You're just going to make more money.
Yeah.
It defies all logic. They a beautiful ballpark. They don't really get that many people down there on a regular basis.
Beautiful. Yeah. It's one of the nicest, I think, from all the ones I've seen. I don't know if there's many much nicer than what they have now. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
So
I don't get it either. It's just
I would go, I used to go. It would be so easy to go watch the Pirates and Marlins. Before Rob, my wife, got sick, we would come down when it was easier, and we would just go watch the Marlins. We'd go see the Marlins Pirates. I'd sit front row for nothing. It was the best time. Great stadium, great everything.
Yeah.
And nothing. Don't care. I don't know. You're right, though. You need the floor. You need that. You do need a lockout. It has to happen.
Yeah.
It has
it's just because it's out of control. And you can't call yourself an effective organization when you have the Miami Marlins. What are they? I'll tell you exactly what their cap is. But it's just a joke of a so-called league, right? You have let's look at the cash payrolls. Let's see, the Mets, terrible, $356 million.
Yeah, that's
awful. But you go from $356 million to Cleveland, who's at the bottom right now, it's $69 million. That's not a league.
No,
it's a $300 million difference, basically.
Yeah,
$300 million from one to 30. That's ridiculous. It's a joke.
Yeah.
Right. So until they raise all that, honestly, if I would go right now, I would go 225 to 405. That's it. That's all I would do. That's it. And I think that's fair.
I do.
Bryce Harper bitches and moans. Look, I'm increasing the value of all those teams below. I mean, right now there are 21 teams below 225 million. 21 teams, right?
Right.
Below 225 million. So that means everybody's making more money. You know, all those 21 teams are all increasing in their payroll.
Yeah.
You know? And then you go to 405. That means New York Mets, the high team, and they can add 50 mil, right? You follow by the Yankees at 328. They can add some. You know, that's the cash payroll. I don't know what the tax payroll is, but that's your cash salary tracker right now. So I mean, it's there's things that can be done to baseball, and whether or not they have the courage to do it, I don't know. All right, we got 30 seconds left. Riverhounds coming around. Had a draw their last game. They're unbeaten in a while. They're third in the power rankings. If you have a chance this weekend, come on out and watch them. It's a great game. Bill and I will be there covering it for Stream Punk Entertainment. Otherwise, great conversation with JR, perfect co-host. Lights out buttons, and we'll see you on Tuesday.